You're listening to a special edition of the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, The Game Sports Show, live from Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill. Host Dave McCaig coming to you live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booyah! And it's time for the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. We are here live at Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill, and this is also powered by Northern Superior Brewing Company. I am your host, David McCaig. It is December the 16th, 2018, and I'm here along with Brad Coccimiglio from Sault today, and I'm going to bring in Brad in just a few moments. Just going to get through the usual introduction portion. This will be the last calendar 2018 show from Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill. We will return to Icebreakers on January the 6th, as we mentioned on our previous edition of the Game Sports Show from Northern Superior Brewing Company. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.com or thegamesportshow.podbean.com or on the Scott Nason YouTube channel. You may have also been directed here through our Instagram page or our Facebook page at the Game Sports Show SSM and at the Game Sports Show respectively, and we want to say thank you for making us a part of your night. Scott Nason is our board operator here tonight, and as I mentioned, Dave McCaig here alongside Brad Coccimiglio. Dane Henschel or Justin Heichel will not be with us here tonight. Justin Heichel has decided to take a vacation day, and as Dane Henschel, today is his birthday. So happy birthday to Dane. So he gets a birthday-cation off. I call it birthday-cation. But so without further ado, before we get through the agenda portion of the show, the one and only, beautiful hair, beautiful smile, beautiful personality, such a hard worker too. And I'm like one of the hardest working guys next to yours truly right here. Is not trying to be conceited by any means here, but the one and only from Sault today, Brad Coccimiglio. Brad, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, it's been a while since I've had that intro in person. Let's be honest here. It's been a while.
It has. You know, you're one of the busiest guys in Sault Ste. Marie, okay, and rightfully so, writing for Sault today, and you're also doing write-ups for Sportsnet, obviously, so which is fantastic, right? Great opportunity for yourself, and obviously well-deserved. You're covering the Soo Greyhounds, you're covering all the local sports here in Sault Ste. Marie, obviously, and other news with Soo today and other things that they call you upon to do and summon you to do, I like to call it. So definitely very thankful that you're able to come by here tonight. People are always asking me, where's Brad? How come he's not at Northern Superior Brewing Company on your shows there? And obviously the reason the shows run a little bit earlier than our usual Thursday shows from earlier at Boston Pizza. However, you know, when time constraints run in, we like to make sure that we get you on when you can, and we get you on the phone. But that's obviously great to have you here live at Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill. And you know what? It was a pretty good weekend locally here at Sault Ste. Marie in terms of hockey. If you want to talk about the Soo Minor Midget team, if you want to talk about the Soo Greyhounds, also capping off a successful weekend last night in Hamilton. And also, you know, the Soo Thunderbirds didn't finish their weekend as strong as they would like to, but you know, still all in all, they had a 1-1 split on the weekend. And here on the Icebreakers edition of the show, just to give everybody a reminder, this is mostly local hockey driven. We're going to talk about everything local. When it even comes from minor midgets, when it comes to junior A with the Soo Thunderbirds, the Soo Eagles, NCAA with the Lake Superior State University Lakers, also with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, and so on and so forth in terms of discussing local hockey at its finest here on the Game Sports Show, which is only local, regional, and national sports show. So to get to the agenda portion of what we're going to be talking about here tonight at Icebreaker Sports Bar and Grill, we're going to be talking about the Minor Midget AAA team. We're going to be talking about the Soo Thunderbirds. We're also going to mention a little bit about the Soo Eagles, obviously, a little NOJHL update. We're going to talk about the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. And also going to talk about the Lake Superior State University Lakers, as they did play this past weekend. And obviously I heard from Scott Nason. I heard about it from especially the American side listeners that Lake Superior State did have a game this weekend. I said on Thursday that they didn't. I got confused. They did play the under 18, or the U.S. development team, the U.S. National Development Program. So we're going to talk about that as well. So, Brad, without further ado, let's get started here. We got about 42 and a half minutes here on the show. If you want to get exact, we're already 4 minutes into the show. So we're going to have the first part here, we're going to talk about the minor midget program, and we're going to talk about the NOJHL before we go to break. When we come back, that's when we'll talk about the Hounds and LSSU. And if we have time, we'll get into some NHL topics for the wrap up there, just give a little bonus criteria for our listeners. But as I mentioned, this is mostly locally driven here with this Icebreaker Sports Bar and Grill edition, also powered by Northern Superior Brewing Company. So Brad, let's jump right into it. I was at Dane's birthday dinner at North 82. Not sure if I'm allowed to give them a little shout out, but I did there. I did have escargot with a martini. I'm sorry, I don't know if that. It was $28 after tip, which is I'm not getting mad about the price. It was a pretty fancy order to get for myself. If people know who I am, I should have just got chicken and French fries. It would have been fine. But at the end of the day, I think you got a good meal there, North 82 either way. But I was at the meal. Lane Burton was there. Lane Burton, people know him from February edition back in earlier 2018 at Boston Pizza. We had Lane on. He's the one who predicted the Stanley Cup final last year. Yeah. Okay, so yes, we're going to have Lane on the show. I promised that I'd be bringing him back on just because of that. And also to discuss some local hockey here. But he was discussing to me about the minor midget program that went 2 out of 3 this weekend with wins. They lost today in a shootout to Sudbury, whom is rated the top 6 teams in the province, and also the minor midget program. That's a good victory for them because earlier in the year they lost 13-2 to Sudbury. That is what Lane was referring to me at dinner tonight. And it's good to see when you battle back in the type of games and going to shootout against a very good team. It's very encouraging, and also it must be just very encouraging not just for the program but for the players.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's let's face it, it's a confidence boost. That's a team that was trailing 1-0 in the third period of that game today. Scored might have been a power play goal. Jack Mateer, who's projected to be a fairly high pick in the OHL draft next spring.
They're saying 4th round, but he might even go 2nd.
He could go. Yeah, he's gonna go. He's a kid that's expected to go in the top few rounds. He's a kid who moves the puck extremely well. He's got a little bit of the pedigree. His dad played with the Greyhounds back in the day when Memorial Cup here, and
that kind of helps when you have that development as a kid to have a father of that experience.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what I mean. That's a big step for that program. I mean, that's like you said, Sudbury is one of the top minor midget teams in the province this year. They're probably going to have 6, 7, maybe 8 kids drafted in the OHL draft this year. So, pretty much half their roster potentially is going to get drafted this year. They've got Corey Stillman's son, former NHLer and current Sudbury Wolves coach. Corey Stillman's son plays for that team.
He has another son, too, that plays...
Yeah, I'm not sure what level his...
Yeah, I think maybe... Yeah, he was on Hamilton last year.
Yeah. Oh, Riley. Yeah.
Oh, Riley Stillman.
Yeah, so, I mean, his Corey Stillman's young son. I mean, the kid's already committed to Providence. I mean, whether that's going to be a play going into the draft, who knows? But I mean, let's face it, Providence is already interested in this kid and has already got a verbal commitment from him. And there's a handful of kids that are going to be real high end on that team. So, if you're the Sioux Thunderbird minor midget team, you look at that game today where you were in a game with one of the best teams in the province. I mean, that says a lot. And that's a team that's played a lot of hockey in the last 10 days. I believe they played 6 games or something crazy, 6 or 7 games in 10 days.
Yeah, which is insane.
That's a team that's played a lot of hockey, even just in the last week. So to pick up 2 of 3 this weekend, is huge. And it's the midget program as a whole at the AAA level in this city. I mean, it's been tough. Yep. Let's face it, the major midgets have had a tough year. The minor midgets, record is, it's not great, but, this is a team that, is going to develop. There's probably going to be a couple of guys on that team that get drafted. Jack Mateer, I believe it's Tyler Dunbar, is going to be another defenseman on that team that will probably go in the draft next year. So, that's a team that, you take the small victories, and, today was, I was impressed. I mean, I haven't seen much of them this year, but I mean, it was, against a high-end Sudbury team, they put out a good performance for sure.
You know what? The one thing, and you can refer to the Game Sports Show's own Craig Hardsburg, who was introduced to our staff a couple weeks ago, and you can hear a previous edition of Craig Hardsburg from earlier last week, how he was discussing in local hockey how we can improve the development of youth. You know what? We were talking actually last night we had my mayor's open team had a team party last night, and teammates of mine, Caleb Chilmans, and we were all discussing, and we have a very wide range. And I do have a point. This is on topic, just so listeners know. We had a wide range of ages at our table. We had guys like Jaron Rowe, who's a couple years younger than myself, who has experience with AAAs. Myself and Chilman, who I went from AA to junior instead of playing the AAA level. But there's guys that were familiar with that AAA program, and the North Star program, Jerry Patingolo. There's guys that have played that star level, and when you think of the teams that were on that ice back in the day, you could have made 2 or 3 AAA teams here in Sault Ste. Marie. And Craig Hartsburg didn't point fingers at development. He's just trying to state ways to improve. He never talked negatively. So just listen to that addition so you don't get words confused with what I'm saying. But you got to develop it from youth, and that's where our program has not been the same. I think a lot of people can say that after the 95 birth year, it hasn't been the same. That's been the consensus from what I've heard. But again, these are still very talented kids on this team. There are the kids that want to be there, kids that enjoy playing hockey, and there's room to improve this Sault Thunderbird minor and major midget program for wins, because everyone looks at their win-loss column. Yeah. But I want to see ascension in the program. I want to see the team, if they were 3-30 last year, I want them to be 7-23 next year. The next year, 7-23, whatever my math is. Doesn't matter. Don't make me think to do math right now. But I just want to see progression. And you know what? Hendo is a very, very devoted into the program. Yeah. He's very invested. You can see him on Facebook. He's more live than the Game Sports Show is on Facebook, and which is great. And to see them get that win, I think, was a good moral victory for that team. A moral victory despite the loss in the shootout, obviously. Right. That's what I mean by it. But you know what? It's definitely, I want to see the program get back to the way it used to be, Brad. That's what I want to see. I want to see the AAA program back to what it was in Sault North Star days. Is there a possibility he can get back to that, or is Craig right that we need to start from the youth development to get to that point?
100%. I mean, you know what? I couldn't agree more with a lot of the stuff Craig is doing. With all the stuff Craig is doing. And talking about it. I mean, it's, lately gone are the days that you would see 60 players try out for the major AAA team in this city. Like, I remember when Mike Hall and George Parsons and all those guys were involved. I remember coming and sitting with Mike on the rink right behind me, and I would walk in and go sit down with Mike, and he would hand me a list, and no word of a lie, there were 60 skaters on that list, and about 12 goalies.
Yeah,
at least. And I remember it was the same thing every year. He says, "Don't worry, we'll have to cut that in half by tomorrow." And they were still cutting it down from 60 skaters to 35 to 40.
See, we had Mike on the show was week before last as well, the same week that we had Craig on, and Mike was at our North Superior edition of the show, and he was recalling those North Star days, how it was hard. Yeah. And I'm one of the guys he caught, not saying I'm a star, but there's guys that could, if it was myself or other players, you want to think of guys, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, you cut Brett Finley one. Yeah. You got guys, Michael Doan, God bless him. There's guys that got cut.
There were a lot of good players.
Lots, exactly. Absolutely. And you never got discouraged, because when we went to play AA, got myself, Finley, and Doan on one team with Donnie Gagne on Cambridge Nissan Titans, and you win the NOJHLs. It's something that you remember. But like Mike said at that interview, you could have made a team with that AA team that was a AAA team. Yeah. And that's what the Sioux had always had that talent. No team in Ontario, unless it was Sudbury, maybe North Bay, was unable to touch us. Yeah. There was one team that always had the Sioux's number in the minor midget program, was Hearst. Yeah. We look at Marc-Alain Bégin, that guy, for some reason, the Phil Kessel of the NOJHL, overweight and scored goals. Yeah. So, and I'm not chirping him. He would say the same about himself. Yeah. He's told me that. But I can say right now, the program locally has to go from the youth and move up. And I always blamed money as the issue. And Craig kind of deflected that a little bit and just said that it could also start from the coaches, the on-ice presence. I didn't even think of that, but because the people that I've experienced with that's had sons that were good at hockey that now don't play said the reason why they stopped playing was the money issue. Yeah. And I think that might be inevitable to avoid, obviously. But
it's not a cheap sport. Let's face it. It's not a cheap sport to play. But further to what Craig has said, let's face it, it comes down to developing players at a young age, and the thing is, and let's be honest and put it out on the table. That isn't a problem in this city. That's just a hockey problem. I can tell you for a fact it's a problem in baseball in this city. It's a problem. It's a problem in a lot of sports that you're not getting, and I don't want to be critical of all coaches, but you're not getting the development at lower levels. And I've had coaches, and this is more on the baseball side, but I've had coaches at higher levels, at rep levels, say that they would get players who would come up and they were they would have to reteach them stuff that they should have learned at a lower level because they weren't being taught correctly.
See, having
and
guys
they weren't being developed correctly. So that's where having guys like Craig come in.
Exactly.
That's where having those guys come in is huge because now you're gonna hopefully coaches are gonna start realizing, hey, you know what? If I'm coaching a team at the atom level, you're teaching them the right things. You're teaching them the right way to play the game. And, not that there's only one way to do it. Let's face facts. There isn't only one way to do it. But when you're teaching the basics, you have to make sure the basics are there. I mean, it's, when you get to the older levels, you should know the easy stuff.
Yep.
And it's, at that point, it should be about, if you're Jamie Henderson or if you're Alex Cruz who coaches the major midgets,
doing great jobs.
Yeah, they should be teaching more. I mean, they're still developing players, but you're developing more systems based. You're developing more the deeper part of the game than you are just here's how to shoot, here's how to pass kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because the older you get, in some cases there aren't. And, I mean, kids are different now. I mean, kids are really different now, and as a coach, you have to deal with players very differently than you did before. And it's unfortunate, but I mean that's part of the issue now too. And kids are just like if they don't like the way they're getting treated, they just quit.
They do,
and it's unfortunate. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, we never, I don't want to say we never saw that before, but we saw a lot less of it.
See, now with Craig being there, I would love to see more people in Sault Ste. Marie. I'm not going to throw names out there.
Yeah.
Get their name back into hockey, that play professional hockey. We know there's people in Sault Ste. Marie that have.
Yeah.
I know there's somebody currently playing that when he does come home, he wants to. I'm not going to throw his name on the bus right now because that's just bad radio when you don't have confirmation of source. They don't want to be on air. But, it'd be nice to have people a part, not to coach that youth, but to be a part of that development program, to have the power skating schools, the skills camps, and then train the younger coaches.
Yeah.
Younger coaches are just because some of them, we appreciate them devoting their time.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
You do, but again, we need the right guy steering the wheel. And Craig is that guy.
Yeah, 100%.
But he needs help. He's building a car. He needs the engine.
Yeah.
He needs the hood. He needs the wheels. He needs the lights.
And you've talked to him as much as I have, and I've had some good conversations with Craig about this. And Craig, God bless him, his heart's in the right place, man.
Oh yeah, and he's all about improving his heart.
And I've said that. Like I wrote a column a while back. That pretty much threw a lot of people under the bus. At the minor hockey level, and I remember I got a message from Craig, and it wasn't there was no ill will, and at that time Toots Kovacs was also getting back involved. At the Pee Wee. So
coach of the Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
Coach.
So and I had a chat with them, and I had a good chat with Craig on the phone, and then ended up doing a story with Craig about it. And one of the biggest things I said to Craig was, "Hey, you know what? We need more guys like you involved." That's the biggest thing is we need more guys like Craig Hartsburg and Toots Kovacs involved. And I'm not saying that the people involved are unqualified.
Nope.
But if you get the right people involved, you take the qualifications of the people that are already there and make them better because you've got people who can give them sound advice.
And there's so many guys that we can sit here all night and mention names and give them detail as to why. And I'm friends. You and I are friends with chunks of them, and I would love to say one name in particular, but I just can't. But anyways, the point of the story is to get back to the whole minor midget program. Great moral victory today despite the shootout loss. That is the point, and I told Lane that we'd get into a bit more detail here with Brad and discussing the minor midget program. Definitely when you see them playing, you can reach out to Jamie Henderson and discuss some schedules. Jamie Henderson, who also is a part of Silver Creek Golf Course, is one of our sponsors here on the Game Sports Show. You can reach out to him for a schedule and some information as well to see our ascending back to normal midget program. That's what I want to call it. And if that's not what we want to call it, I apologize. I just decided to throw it out there because I like to have fun. Brad, we're going to move on from the minor midget program. We got a couple things to discuss before we go to break, and then we got to come back and talk some OHL, an area of your expertise, obviously, with the Soo Greyhounds. So just a recap with the Soo Eagles. The Soo Eagles also were in action this past weekend, winning 2-0 against French River on Saturday. On Friday, they had an OT loss to Elliott Lake, so that was 4-3 at the Polar, and they won 2-0 at the Polar on Saturday. But on for the Sault Ste. Thunderbirds, a similar result, okay, but they didn't end up losing in overtime in one of the games. They actually split 1-1, opposed to the Eagles going 1-0-1. The Thunderbirds won 2-1 against French River on Friday here at the John Rhodes Community Centre. On Saturday, Rayside Balfour Canadians defeated the Soo Thunderbirds by a score of 4-2. The Soo Thunderbirds now are back in action next weekend, where they go to Espanola, and that's just on Friday at 7:30, Friday the 21st. And then when they come back, they don't play until Friday, January the 4th in Elliott Lake. So one more game. Again, that's Friday, December the 21st at 7:30 in Espanola. Now back to the Eagles. The Eagles are in action for 2 games next weekend, Friday, December the 21st at the Polar Stadium at 7:30 on Friday against Elliott Lake. On Saturday, they play against Rayside Balfour Canadians at 7 p.m. Now, Brad, a little bit of reaction with the Soo Thunderbirds this weekend. What happened, per se, against Rayside? The French River is, a team that it's the first time that they got to see them this year here at the John Rhodes Community Centre. Rayside is a team that they see quite often. They've had battled injuries a lot. The Thunderbirds short benched. They've battled suspensions the last 3-4 weeks. And the Thunderbirds against Rayside was, as expected, a tough contest.
Yeah, I mean, they're the 2 best teams in the NOJHL West Division for a reason right now. And, it was basically a late goal, a shorthanded goal in the third period that really was the difference. Kyle Linema scored shorthanded, and, that was the go-ahead goal. And, the Thunderbirds, are trying to kind of get back on track a little bit. They've had a rough stretch here with injuries and suspensions, and they're starting to get guys back now, which is good. But they've had a tough injury situation, losing some guys. Nick Smith, who's one of the top scorers in the league, missed a game after getting hit from behind here against the Eagles last weekend. Gage Stephanie was out with what I believe was a concussion. He's back in the lineup now, which is a big addition. And, that's a team that really hasn't played with a full lineup much this year, but they're still managing to get the job done. And, it was obviously a disappointing loss, against Rayside, but I mean, that's a good Rayside club. They don't make life easy. They lean on you. They're usually a big, strong hockey club, and they don't make life easy. They got a good goaltending performance out of David Bowen. And yes, there is a relationship to Joe Bowen. I believe that's his son. I believe.
What's up?
David is.
Yeah.
So I mean, they got a good. The kid was good in goal for them. Both goaltenders actually were really good in that game. Colin Ahern, for the Thunderbirds, stopped 36 shots in that one too. Both goaltenders were really good. There was lots of chances, and it was a typical hockey game between 2 of the best teams in the league.
A lot of bad blood between these 2 teams too from last playoffs. We've talked about that on the show. Yeah. That was an issue that we've discussed on a previous edition, a Boston Pizza edition before of the Game Sports Show. Now with the Soo Eagles and Thunderbirds, I've always liked that battle between the poor and the atmosphere. I got to give them credit. They get always great attendance. at Polar Stadium, and I would like to see the attendance increase here at the John Rhodes. It was never great even when I played here, but I would like to find a way to see if we can find ways to improve and get the attendance here, because such a good hockey team, the Sault Thunderbirds, right? They're very hard to know that they're the top team. They're 24-7 and 24-7, 0-1. I should rephrase, in 32 games, 49 points. So you got to get out and support this team, and they are tops in the Western Division, where the Soo Eagles are fourth in the Western Division with 14-18 and 1-1 for 30 points. And a shout out to my Blind River Beavers. People wonder why my Blind River Beavers. That's where I started my junior career. 18, 11, 4-1, a couple of times, 41 points for third in the much turned around and improved Blind River organization run by Kyle Brick, for sure. Now, producer Ghost reminded me of this, and just by saying my call, I was reminded of this as well. I forgot to mention at the top that I'm going to give a little update with the Sault College Cougars hockey. This weekend, Sault College was in action, and they played against Saginaw Valley at the GFL Gardens. They won 13-3 on Friday, and then they won 7-6 on Saturday. And just to talk about a little stat here, Ryan Venderman, 17 games, 35 goals, 26 assists for 61 points, almost leading his team in double points, but had a very good weekend all around. Austin Rowe had a good weekend as well, who has now improved to 19-14 for 33 points. Max Call is 8 goals and 30 assists for 38 points. Andrew Barbo, 17-17 for 34 points. Mark Tassoni, 7 goals, 25 assists for 32 points. And Kalen O'Flynn, 4 goals, 25 assists for 29 points. Ryan Venderman, Austin Rowe, and Kalen O'Flynn on the Game Sports Show's Mayor's Open team. A little shout out to that as well. So I got to make sure I give Sault College a little bit of a shout out there in terms of their 2-0 weekend, tighter game Saturday than what they predicted. But they are not in action now until January the 11th, where they play against Schoolcraft at the University of Miami, Ohio. The time is to be announced. You can look at the Sault College Cougars athletics website for that information. This is Dave McCaig alongside Brad Coccimiglio live at Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill. Brad, you and I are going to take a quick break. When we come back, got about 12 to 15 minutes left. We're going to talk about a little bit briefly about LSSU, but also invade the conversation with the Soo Greyhounds. I don't think we're going to have much time to talk into some bonus topics, but we shall see. So let's sip on some delicious beer, take a break, and come back and talk more. What do you say?
Deal. Let's do it.
Deal. Let's do it. We're going to hear from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere.
The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Pulling Museum, right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course, all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company. It's a northern thing.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and special edition home to the game, Silver Creek Golf Course, located on 104 Bellow Lake Road, Garden River, Ontario. And also shout out thank you to Silver Creek GM Jamie Henderson. Silver Creek Golf Course has many specials to offer for 18 holes, 9 holes, and even Twilight Deal specials. It does not matter what your level of golf game is, it is a must to enjoy the scenic course, memorable experiences that Silver Golf Course offers. Silver Creek also offers a Thursday wing night for you to enjoy food after a stellar time on the course. You can book your tee time by phone or online at golfsilvercreek.com. Silver Creek Golf Course, where all are welcome to play.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sports Center Bar and Grill. Sports Center Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sports Center rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sports Center, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sports Center Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Get wicked at the Wicked Sister. You'll find the best tasting food for the whole family. Start off with some appetizers like the crab dip, served with warm naan bread strips and soft pretzel bites, or their antibiotic and hormone-free boneless chicken wings with 5 choices of sauces. Entrees include the barbecue pulled pork sandwich, the #1 selling drunken cow burger, or Philly cheesesteaks, and they're on special all day Thursdays. The Wicked Sister also offers a gluten-free menu and catering. Bring the whole family. The Wicked Sister, downtown Ashman Street, open 7 days a week.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank a list of additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, new location located on 647 McDonald Avenue, Sault Ste. Marie. A family-owned and operated business with doing business in Sault Ste. Marie for over 10 years. Loads of products available for your enjoyment for all seasons. North Shore Sports and Auto, we understand the importance of quality service and products, and we work hard to ensure that all customers have a positive experience before and after each and every sale. North Shore Sports and Auto, meeting all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Special thanks to Salon. The Salon, located on 589 2nd Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. Book your appointment today at 705-941-9191 or via online at https://thesalonsoo.as.me-. The Salon, making the Soo beautiful, one haircut at a time. As well as a shout out to the Superior Pro Shop. The Superior Pro Shop, located inside the Community First Credit Union Superior Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. Superior Pro Shop, for over 40 years, meet all of your skate sharpening, skate repair, and hockey needs. Also to Discover the Canvas. Discover the Canvas, located on 317 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. A beautiful, new renovated building owned and operated by expert artist and Sioux native Katrina Thibodeau. Katrina taking her talents of the ink in Sault Ste. Marie and truly creating the best and most realistic art locally. Call Katrina today at 705-450-8099 or email her at discoverthecanvas@gmail.com to book your tattoo or consultation today.
Hi, it's Craig Hartsburg, former NHL player and NHL coach. Welcome to the Game Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Yours truly, David McCaig, here live at Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill for the Icebreakers edition of the Game Sports Show, also powered by Nolan Superior Brewing Company, the Twin Cities' only local, regional, and national sports show. You may listen to the show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or the Scott Neeson YouTube channel. Either way, thank you for making us a part of your night. We're in the second part of the show, and I'm here alongside the Game Sports Show's own, Soo Today's own, and also Sportsnet's own, Brad Coccimiglio. I gotta give you an intro every time I talk to you. It just feels right.
Yeah, buddy.
Feels right, buddy. Yeah, buddy. And it feels good to say it. It feels good to have you here. I know Justin and Dane wishing they could have been here. Obviously, happy birthday to Dane. They're complete slackers. Obviously, you weren't able to make the last little bit of Northern Superior because of time issues, but glad you're here live on location here tonight. And obviously, we're going to get into the areas of where you're known for everything here in Sault Ste. Marie, but this, obviously, working with the Hounds, you're very, very close working with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, obviously, in connection to all the other local programs in town. But moving on from the NOJHL and from the ACHA coverage and the minor midget coverage here in Sault Ste. Marie, we're going to jump in and talk about Lake Superior State University athletics and the Lakers. And then we're going to talk about the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds this past weekend before we conclude tonight's show. Maybe the listeners get to hear your voice a little bit more in this part, instead of hearing my voice. But, I want to jump in and talk right now about Lake State. I'm going to let you spearhead. They played against the Under-18 U.S. Development Program. I always get that. Okay, I got it. I try to memorize that without looking at any
you know what? It's funny because it's usually the name is kind of all over the place sometimes, but it's essentially the U.S. Development Program's Under-18 team. Yeah. The order really doesn't matter. It's
not Jack Hughes' team, is it?
Yeah, that was. Although I'm not sure if Jack Hughes played today because I think he's with the
juniors.
Yeah, with the national junior team.
Yes.
So, just for the listeners, just really quick, essentially the U.S. National Development Program, essentially that program is the best 17 and the best 16-year-olds across the United States go into one city. They play out of Plymouth, Michigan now. They actually play out of Compior Sports Arena. I think it's under a new name now. But they basically play out of the rink that the former Plymouth Whalers play out of. And it's essentially the top 16 and 17-year-olds in the United States. They play on one team. A lot of the guys are already committed to colleges. That's the same. The U17 team out of that group would have been the same team that was here for the Under-17 tournament 2 years ago.
Okay.
So basically, they send that team to tournaments. Yeah. The U18 team generally plays. They play in a handful of tournaments, and they play a college schedule where the U17s generally play tournaments and junior games. Although they may play a couple games against colleges as well. Lake State beat them 7-3 down there. They've usually been alternating. I believe every second year they basically alternate cities. They played about 5 or 6 years in a row. One of the last times that they were up here, Jack Eichel was on that team. Dylan Larkin was on that team.
Yeah. Was that Matthews' year?
No, I believe Austin Matthews was the year after. I
Yeah,
think.
because you're younger than Jack.
Yeah,
that's right.
So I mean, that's a the U17 and U18 program is pretty high end. There have been times where they've produced a lot of quality NHLers, and Lake State. I mean, again, that's a program that's having a really good year. Colin Sackham and Diego Cuglietta had 2 goals each today for them. Lake State's. They're in a tie for 5th in the WCHA, the Western Collegiate Athletic Association, or Western Collegiate Hockey Association.
Yeah.
They're 19 points. They're 6-5 right now. They're a team that's been it's been pretty good overall this year. The league that they play in, it's not. I mean, everyone talks about the Big Ten with Michigan and Minnesota
Boston.
and Hockey East with Boston College, Boston U, and the NCHC is real high end too. But WCHA, Minnesota State, nationally ranked. The Lakers have been in and out of the national rankings a couple times this year. Michigan Tech's usually been pretty good. So there's a handful of good teams. Bowling Green's having a real good year in that league as well, and that's a Lake State team that they split with Michigan here earlier this year. They played a couple of good games against Minnesota State earlier this year, although they lost both. And it's a program that's that's trying to find its way, and it's been tough. But little by little, I think they're slowly getting there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here the rest of the year. But it's a team that's had had a decent year thus far.
See, Lake Superior State University doing well. The words in Sioux, Michigan, you must love hearing that after they've been kind of up and down or very inconsistent since their days with Dougie Waite. There's more names I'm probably missing off that list, but that's
Blaine
fun.
Walker.
Blaine
Walker was a little bit after Dougie Waite, but there was it's been tough, right? It's that's a program that was a national championship contender for about a 5 or 6 year stretch. So it hasn't been easy, but I mean it is what it is, right? It's it's the smallest. I believe it's one of, if not the smallest, Division I hockey program in the country. Yeah. And hockey is the only D1 sport they have. Everything else is D2. And I will say this, as much as we're a hockey show, the men's basketball program and even the women's basketball team over there are pretty high end, and the men's basketball team has been very good for a few years. Yeah. They've got a very good basketball program over there as well. They do. That's something that that's a school that's it's got some good athletics as a whole over there.
And they had some good coaches, and we've had a lot of their coaches come guests on our Wicked Sister edition of the Game Sports Show Mondays, as the Game Sports Show being proud sponsors with Lake Superior State University Lakers, along with Eagle 95.1, and obviously with the Wicked Sister. After the game, they have some post-game deals at the Wicked Sister, so make sure to check that out. Lake Superior State, congratulations for that 7-3 win. That's a pretty talented team you've defeated, despite Hughes not being in the lineup. I'm sure people would love to see him play the next first overall pick in the National Hockey League this upcoming year. Oh, spoiler alert there. Brad, one more topic we're going to jump into for tonight. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. They are now off after the victory tonight, 5-1. Yesterday, Saturday. Today's Sunday. Tomorrow's Monday. Yuck. But Saturday, they defeated Hamilton 5-1. They're now off until next weekend, Friday the 28th, where they play Saginaw at home, and then they're at Sudbury. Actually 2 weeks from now. Then Friday the 28th. Next weekend's Christmas. Sorry, they're off for 2 weeks. So it's Friday, December the 28th, rather. So that's 2 weeks. God, I got to get my dates right here. But Friday the 28th, they play against Saginaw. Then the 29th, they play against Sudbury, Pelon, and the Wolves against the Greyhounds here in Sault Ste. Marie at the GFL Memorial Garden. So that's the 28th and 29th at home at 7:07 respectively, Saginaw and Sudbury respectively. So, Brad, the Hounds are probably, looking at this break, they have Hayton down at the juniors. You have Morgan Frost down there too.
Getting Villalta back will be big.
Yeah, Villalta come back is big, but you're missing 2 key centers, obviously, out of the lineup. And they're going to be missing them for 2 games, I believe. Correct. Well, they missed them.
They've been gone for a couple games already, and then they're going to miss. Depending on what the Canadian team does, they could be gone till.
Is it the 4th?
I think it's
6th
January
even.
4th. Yeah, it's usually the Monday after. The Monday after New Year's.
Okay, so the Monday after New Year's.
Although you know, in this case, it might be a little sooner because they'll have New Year's Day off. There generally isn't any games on New Year's Day.
No.
So the second would probably be the quarterfinals. The fourth would probably they're looking probably the first weekend of January at the earliest.
Earliest.
The 5th, 6th.
5th, 6th. That's if they return. If not, they wouldn't return till Wednesday the 9th against Sarnia in town. So, you know, the Hounds got to find ways to win, but good teams, Brad, find ways to win. The Sault Ste. Greyhounds right now are in second in the Western Conference, 21-8-4 and 147 points behind London. And London they play them that first weekend in January in London, which is going to be a nice tough matchup for the Hounds for sure. But talk about the Hounds' 5-1 win over Hamilton. Obviously, Ethan Taylor getting first-star honors. You have obviously Keegan Hadashal had a very good hockey game. He had, I believe, 3 points in the game, 2 goals and an assist. Cole McKay, Sioux native, is doing I think having a pretty good progressive year. You know, you have you had Alex Johnson get one, Ryan O'Rourke. I've heard a lot of good things about Ryan O'Rourke. A lot of fans like Ryan, so good to see him getting on that score sheet. Talk about the Hounds getting that win over Hamilton. Hamilton's obviously not the same team that they were last year, but you know it's a good win to go into the break.
Yeah, you know what I mean. They played well. You know, the biggest thing for me is like they didn't in that game. Not one of their forwards, not one, including overage Keegan Hadashal, not one of their forwards has more than 2 years of experience in the OHL.
Wow.
Like every guy was in their first or second year, and you know guys have come up big. Keegan Hadashal's got 28 goals going into the break.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, you know what? Like the kid's been absolutely outstanding. He's got like 15 goals in his last 12 games. You know, the kid's just been an absolute beast.
And he's doing this right now. People like to say they played well with Hayden or Frost, but those guys are not in the lineup.
You know what? And that's the thing. He's done it on his own too.
Yep.
You know, he's a kid. I asked John Dean about him on the phone yesterday, and John Dean flat out said, "Dude, I don't even know what to say about him anymore." You know, because he's been so good. You know, it's just he's like, I don't know what to say about him anymore. He's just been wild. You know, the kid's been an absolute machine. You know, Alex Johnston. You know, for a rookie, and you know he's an underage. He's a late and when I say underage, I mean late birthday. That he's actually. You know, he's not NHL draft eligible, even though he's 17. He's not draft eligible for another year. You know, the kid's got 4 goals in his last 7 games and has played really well after, you know, he scored 2 in the second game of the year, and then he went on a long stretch, and, you know, now he's got 4 in 7 games. So, you know, the kid, you know, that's going to be a good one. Ryan O'Rourke's going to be absolutely wild.
Yeah, that kid I've heard nothing but absolutely nice.
He's going to be an absolute high-end guy. You know, there's a lot of reason to be. Ethan Taylor was good in both games. You know, so there's a lot of reasons to be excited about this Greyhound team, regardless of how they approach the deadline.
See, Keegan Hadashal scored back-to-back games again. I think it seems like he scores in every hockey game right now. The guy is being an absolute stud. But you mentioned Ryan O'Rourke. I'm excited to see this young guy. You know, and I'm excited to see. I've heard different people say how they think Frost and might be getting dealt at the deadline, if that's going to happen or what it is. I don't think the Hounds touch or move anybody. I think this is the team they keep going for. Maybe. I don't know what you feel. But that's going to be something we can save and table until after the break, obviously. But the break, I'm sure the Hounds would like the break. Obviously, the lineup won't change too much when the break returns, when they come back against Saginaw on Friday the 28th in a couple weekends, not next weekend. But are you expecting the second half of the season to be as successful for the Hounds? Should anything be different? Should fans expect anything different?
You know what I mean? I think they're going to be good. I mean, it's, you know, a lot of it's going to depend on what they do at the trade deadline. You know, I know there are a lot of varying opinions on what they should or shouldn't do.
I should get every scout, expert, and armchair GM and fan on the show to see all the different opinions.
Yeah, you'll get a lot of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my theories on what they're going to do. I've had discussions with people about, you know, potentially what they could do.
Oh, they can do a lot.
You know, I mean, the biggest thing, though, is I don't think they'll buy. Or at least full-out buy. Because I mean, for lack of a better phrase, I don't know if they can afford it.
Yeah, they moved a lot last year.
The prices for Ryan Merkley, Michael DiPietro, Jacob Paquette, and Jason Robertson, they're very, very high prices. And I don't know, like, if you're the Greyhounds, I don't think you pay. If they do add at all, it's gonna be smaller deals.
Yep.
And the unfortunate issue is, if they're gonna add, they might have to deal Rory Cairns. They might have to deal Alex Johnston. Guess what? That's the nature of doing business. They had to trade Hayden Fowler to Erie to get Taylor Radish and Jordan Sandbrook last year, and Hayden Fowler's having a decent year in Erie right now.
And he's going to be getting better.
So
did Jubas send back Sandine yet? God, he's not clear.
It's a tough situation because there's so many moving parts.
Yep.
And it's not an easy decision. I mean, I don't envy Kyle Raftis at all. I don't want to be the one to have to make those decisions. If he thinks he can add, and make this team better, hey, you know what? If he's going to take the chance and do it, hey, all the power to him. But I mean, I don't know that this is a team that adds going into the trade deadline. It's going to be tough.
I think the Hounds they're not surprising me. I know they're surprising a lot of people in Sault Ste. Marie because people don't think they can do this good. But you got to think up Barrett Haven and Frost and 1-2 punch at centers are pretty solid.
They're two of the best players in the league.
The way Keegan's playing this year is absolutely a bonus for them, obviously. And when Villalta went down with injury, they were up and down there. But he's definitely one of the top goalies in the OHL, and he has that experience with deep runs. Hopefully, the Hounds can make a deep run despite not making a bunch of trades at the deadline. Now, Brad, I know we don't have any time to really jump into additional topics tonight, as yours truly has a hockey game in 20 minutes at the rink in here, and I'm at the John Rhodes, so promise not the speed to get there. But I'm going to say throughout the Christmas holidays, the World Juniors are going to be going on. I know Craig is going to do a couple additions with the show. Hopefully we can arrange some additions, and there's the NHL roster freeze. I wanted to get some more opinion with the National Hockey League with you, but we're going to save that for something to break. We'll do a bonus upload somehow, maybe next week, or possibly you can join us on our Sports Center show. We can combine it, because listeners, we're still doing our Sports Center show every Wednesday, except the 27th will be only date change. We're going to do it at noon on the Thursday 27th, so it'll be the day after Boxing Day. So Sports Center show was going on, but Northern Superior Brewing Company show and the Icebreaker show was done for the 2018 year. We're going to be back, obviously, 2019, but at Northern Superior Brewing Company will be January the 3rd, and here at Icebreakers on January the 6th. But again, we will be at Sports Center on Wednesday next week, which will be Wednesday the 19th, with myself, Jamie, Matt, and possibly Justin. Now, obviously, Brad Coccimiglio may come by as well. We're going to discuss some more hockey news, a little bonus topics to add to our ever-popular Wednesday show at Sports Center Bar and Grill. So, Brad, I want to say thanks for coming on by here tonight. As always, great to see your face and have a talk with you about hockey locally, and give the listeners a full recap in Sault Ste. Marie. Thanks for coming by, pal.
Hey, it's always fun. Thanks for having me on.
It always is. It always is fun. It always is fun. I remember the first time you came on the show in Boston Pizza, I was like, we need to have this guy on our show, period. And it worked out, and it's awesome.
We're not short-winded, that's for sure.
Oh, we're not. We got a great crew, a stacked crew, I call it, a very stacked crew here, and a very fun crew. The whole point of it is having fun, beers, and providing listeners with the Twin Sault's only local regional national sports show in a fun way, though, too. We're not all scripted. Our shows are not that scripted. We're not at all. I'd said that we're not going to be scripted. We're going to have an agenda that we've laid out here, and we know what we're going to talk about, because that's what natural sports experts do. Sorry, being conceited on our behalf. I want to say thank you to you, the listeners, for making us a part of your night tonight. I want to say thanks to Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill, and obviously to Northern Superior Brewing Company, and to Jody Wilson, Mitch Wilson, and the family here at Icebreakers, Scott Nason, our board operator, and again to you, the listeners. Happy birthday to the Game Sports Show's own again, Dane Hanschel, the third shutout that he gets on the show. Hopefully that's enough for him, because he said he wanted to hear his name a bunch. 3 times is enough, in my opinion. Yeah, it's a total last one he's getting. And you know what, listeners, from Icebreakers Northern until just January 2019, and until next week, though, for Sports Center, make sure keep your stick on the ice, swing your bat, catch a touchdown, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.